Good morning. I'm going to give you some simple ways this morning of growing your confidence. Now, confidence is something that affects every single area of our life. It affects our relationships. It affects whether we get defensive or not. It affects whether we can listen to somebody else and enter their space, which means it affects our sales. It affects our marketing. It affects everything in our lives, whether it's business, relationships, personally, whether I'm willing to put myself out there or not. Confidence affects every area of your life. Now, to me, it's kind of like the secret sauce. If you figure out confidence, then everything else becomes easier. Not necessarily easy, not necessarily you've got everything in the world, but when you've got confidence, you can move forward and it works really well for the most part, okay? How do you grow confidence? I've talked about this lots. I've got entire courses on confidence because it's so important. But for today, what I'd like to tackle is moving from the simple to the complex. Confidence is very simple. It is very simple, not necessarily easy, but it's very simple. And that is, if you start with something that you can do and build confidence in it, you will grow that confidence and you can consistently take on more complex tasks, complete those, and grow your confidence in that way. In the beginning, this is what I'd suggest. Make it easy, make it simple, and make sure that it's you're not putting yourself so far out there that if you got crushed with that, if it fails too big, that you're going to be down to square one again. So you want to simply build it up and build up to more complex. So I'm going to use some examples from many different realms of life. Okay, so for example, when you learned to walk, when you learned to learn your mother tongue, you didn't learn by trying full sentences at the beginning. You didn't learn by running. You learned by watching people, by trying things out, by standing up a little bit with somebody else's help or whatever. And as you started to learn little bits here and you grew your confidence and your balance, now you started being willing to try. Now, in the process, you failed. The beauty is that once you know how to balance yourself and you know how to stand with I've got a lot of little nephews and nieces right now. You can see yourself and you're balancing yourself against something. Once you've got the confidence in that, then you can keep trying the next step and fail, and it won't send you back to square one. This is the beauty of the process. Another example is water skiing, water sports. I often did wakeboarding and other things as I was growing up, and I remember I was talking to a professional athlete once, and they were telling me, Mark, in order to do this you're trying to do a fairly complex flip. What I'd suggest, this is what he told me, is try an even more complex flip. I was like, I don't even have the first one done. I'm working on it. I'm not landing it really well. And he said, don't worry, try the more complex one and look back and you'll see the former one becomes a little bit easier. And it was true enough. I tried the more complex flip and the easier flip, or the less complex flip, became easier. This is true of most areas of life. Public speaking, putting out marketing, your sales process. What is it that you're lacking confidence in? If it's sales, which a lot of people struggle with sales, so if it's with sales, try doing things, come up with a script with the help of a coach or somebody, and then practice it on family and friends or people that you know that like you and you're not even selling to them. You both know that you're not selling to them. It's simply practice. When you practice it 100 times, now it's in you a little bit. Now you can do it. I remember the first time I was learning scripts, and it was so mechanical. I was very robotic. I remember my brother, who was helping me with this a little bit, said, like, Mark, you sound like a robot. And that was okay. I wasn't doing it with other people. I was practicing on my own. And once I felt a little more fluid, now I started practicing with other people. People that maybe not buying anything, but they're going to give me good feedback and positive feedback. And then I try something with strangers. And then I try new concepts with strangers. Always make it a little more complex, but practice one step. If you find yourself procrastinating because you're not willing to take one step, just back it up a little bit. Back it up a little bit and practice that one thing. But here's the key. You need to keep moving in one direction. You have to start moving in the direction that will get you towards your goals. You have to build momentum in that direction. And that's what builds confidence faster than anything, is momentum. Where you go, hey, yesterday worked out, this morning worked out, this afternoon probably will work out. That's how it works. And the momentum and confidence go well together. So whatever it is, I want you to take one task, one thing that you're struggling with right now. Confidence, again, maybe it's talking to strangers, whatever that is. Break it down and say, what is one thing I can practice in a simple way where I'm not going full bore right now, but it will start to take me there. As you do that, you will build confidence. And then there's that tweak, the water skiing or wakeboarding trick that I talked about, is that sometimes if you're trying something and it's just not kind of working and you're trying over and over and over and over again, try something a little more complex. What happens is your brain, because it's forced to think in new ways, if you're stuck, forced to think about new ways, all of a sudden it can process that other information fairly quick, which is amazing the way our brains work. So 2 tips. Build confidence by making things simple and then building up to the complex, building with that momentum. And then secondly, if you ever get really stuck, you're really stuck with something and it's frustrating you, or actually feel like you're starting to move backwards, try something a little more complex. Because often that can just get you out of the rut. You can snap out of it and it'll help you out a lot. I've had tons of success with this with my clients. What I want you to do is try this today. Try this in some way. Write down something that you need to work on with your confidence and come up with a plan. Go, what is a simple thing that I can try today that will help me get me there sooner? Enjoy today.